After returning from the hospital checkup, upon learning I had terminal lung cancer, the first thing I did was bring the senior I had secretly loved for 8 years back home. A month passed. I noticed that aside from feeling a bit weak, I didn't experience any pain at all. Just then, the hospital called to say they had mixed up the medical reports. My body was perfectly fine. At that moment I was completely panicked. Staring at the woman sleeping on the bed, I made a major decision in my heart. After 3 years abroad I returned home. Once again after a company team-building event. My colleagues got me dead drunk. When I woke up, my feet were locked with a chain I knew all too well. Only this time there were 2 people lying beside me, one big, one small. I hadn't even confessed to my senior yet, and in a month I was supposed to die. Thinking about all this, on the way back, I couldn't stop my tears from flowing. The taxi driver knew I had come from the hospital. Sensing something was wrong with me, he probably guessed what was going on. Just before I got out, he suddenly said to me, "Young man, no obstacle is insurmountable. Living in the moment is what matters most." Back home, looking at the empty villa, only me left, a major decision suddenly formed in my heart. The driver was right. Live in the moment. I opened my phone and ordered a silver chain. Only a month left. I didn't want to leave any regrets. The delivery came fast. By the time I finished dinner, the item had already arrived. Looking at the silver chain in my hand, I gathered my courage and opened the pin chat on WeChat. "Senior, I'm feeling a bit unwell today. Could you come over and take care of me?" The message had just been sent. The other person replied immediately. That person arrived at my place in half an hour. During this time, I dissolved the sleeping pills I used for insomnia into water, sat on the sofa and waited. A knock came at the door, calming the excitement inside me. Opened the door. What came into view was a woman in a business suit. At that moment, fine beads of sweat were visible on her forehead. Clearly, she had rushed over right after work. Seeing this, a sudden wave of guilt surged in my heart, but I quickly steeled myself again. As soon as she entered, the woman grabbed my hand worriedly and led me to the sofa. "Junior, where do you feel unwell? I'll take you to the hospital right now." Looking at the concerned expression on the woman before me, tears involuntarily welled up in my eyes. This woman in front of me is called Ji Anshue, 6 years older than me. After I was thrown out by my parents at the age of 14, Senior took me in out of kindness, and even supported me through college. After graduation, I even joined her company as an assistant. All these years, she has taken care of me meticulously. In my heart, she means everything to me, and the villa I currently live in is also hers. But after I turned 18, Senior gave me this villa as a birthday gift, saying that if I ever had a girlfriend in the future, she wouldn't disturb us. But ever since that winter, when she carried me from the snow into the villa, I could never fall for another woman. Now that I have terminal lung cancer, perhaps facing death, has given me more courage. "Junior, say something. Where exactly do you feel unwell? Don't scare me like this." Seeing that I remained silent, just staring at her quietly, her voice was filled with anxiety. "Senior, first have a drink of water. I'll tell you slowly." I took a deep breath, forcing down the guilt in my heart, forced to smile. Looking at the face more delicate than any stars, I became even more certain of my resolve. After all, I'll be dead in a month. Might as well take a gamble. Ji Anshue rushed over from the company. She was indeed a bit thirsty. Taking the glass, she downed the water laced with sleeping pills. Watching her empty the glass, I breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly my expression turned serious. "Senior, I like you. I've liked you ever since the day you took me in. Can we be together?" I thought I should give Senior a chance. I didn't want to force Senior. I didn't want her to hate me, but reality slapped me hard. Ji Anshue looked at my sudden confession. First stunned, coming to her senses, Ji Anshue, her face full of anger. "You're not sick at all. You're lying to me." With that, Ji Anshue grabbed her bag and walked out the door without looking back. Seeing this, my eyes darkened. A wave of bitterness filled my heart. So I was rejected after all. Just as Ji Anshue reached the doorway, her vision went dark, and then her body began to fall backward. Luckily, I was prepared. I quickly stepped forward and caught her. Looking at the sleeping woman in my arms, I couldn't contain my excitement. I took out the newly bought chains and locked them around her ankle. After doing this, I opened her phone and found the chat with her secretary. "Secretary Jiang, I have to go on a business trip for a month. Don't contact me during this time. Temporarily leave the company to the junior for some important documents. Send me the electronic versions first. I'll have the junior sign for me." She replied quickly. "Okay, I will." See the response. I smiled. Thankfully, after graduating, I became her assistant at the company. Many people are aware of my relationship with her. I signed the documents for my senior. Secretary Jiang definitely won't suspect anything. I tidied up a bit. Most importantly, I took the painkillers. I'm absolutely terrified of pain. Looking at the sleeping woman beside me, my heart couldn't stop pounding. I've had a crush on my senior for 8 years. In my heart, I've always regarded her as my senior. Today, I finally get to sleep in the same bed as her. By now, it was already 11 o'clock. I reached out and pulled the woman beside me close, slowly drifting off to sleep. The next morning, Ji Anxue slowly woke up. Just as she opened her eyes, she wanted to rub her forehead, but found her hands trapped by a pair of strong arms. Lifting her head, she saw a face right in front of her. Seeing the man before her, Ji Anshua's face turned pale. Her expression instantly filled with rage. She kicked me, still sound asleep, straight off the bed. "Gu Fan, let me go, and from now on, don't ever appear in front of me again." Ji Anxue initially wanted to get up and put on clothes, but the cold sensation around her ankle startled her. Seeing that silvery white chain, she trembled with anger. What was worse, her clothes were all over the floor. Though she didn't feel any discomfort on her body, she was somewhat relieved inside. Watching the person just waking up, rubbing his head, Ji Anxue was so angry her teeth itched. Just as she opened her mouth to curse, I grabbed her and pinned her hands beneath me. I had been lost in a sweet dream with my senior, and suddenly got kicked awake. Just as I came to my senses, all I heard was my senior's furious scolding. Even though I knew last night she would yell at me when she woke up, still hurt me deeply inside. My eyes dimmed. Since things have come this far, I can't back down now. Anyway, I only have 1 month left. In 18 years, I'll be a good man again. Suddenly, I looked up. My eyes met the senior's eyes, but soon my gaze shifted downward. However, the curtains in your room are tightly drawn, making the room exceptionally dim. Having secretly loved the senior for 8 years, in this final month, I don't want to be a coward anymore. After waking up again, I found the senior staring at me expressionlessly. For a moment, my eyes dodged. I quickly changed the subject. "Senior, you must be hungry. I'll go make you something to eat." Ji Anxue not losing her temper is the scariest. I quickly sat up, haphazardly pulled on my clothes, and fled the bedroom. In the room, Ji Anxue watched my retreating back with complicated eyes. Her gaze fell on the floor, on the scattered clothes. The tips of her ears slightly reddened. Finally turning into a helpless sigh, she took out one of my white shirts from the wardrobe, then walked into the bathroom to wash up. Luckily, the chain I bought was long enough, allowing her to move freely around the villa. Not long after, I came to the bedroom carrying a bowl of porridge. By then, Ji Anxue had already finished showering. She was conspicuously wearing my shirt, but the senior looking like this made me pause slightly. Her glossy black hair, dotted with water droplets, dampening the shirt, the collar pressed tightly against her skin. "If you still want to continue, I'll die in bed." Seeming to notice my breathing becoming rapid, Ji Anxue let out a cold snort. I smiled awkwardly, quickly holding the porridge. I brought the spoon to her lips. The woman just glared at me, opened her mouth and drank it down. Seeing that the senior did not resist, a wave of joy filled my heart. I continued feeding her. After finishing the porridge, Ji Anxue didn't bring up last night's events. "Gu Fan, take the chain off me. There are still many documents waiting for me at the company. Do you plan to keep me locked up like this forever? If I miss even 1 day of work, someone will call the police. This is illegal." In response to Ji Anshua's threat, I just smiled and said no. "Don't worry about the company. I've already asked Secretary Jiao to take leave for you. I'll handle those documents for you." I took out Ji Anshua's phone, opened the chat history with Secretary Jiang and showed it to her, then put the phone away. I wouldn't let her touch any communication devices. Ji Anxue watched this man arrange everything in advance, and immediately glared at him in fury. She was extremely angry now. If she had known, she wouldn't have given that guy so much authority at the company. Now look what happened. She had fallen into this man's trap. The next morning, I placed the prepared breakfast on the bedside table. Seeing my senior's pale little face, a trace of regret rose in my heart. It was all my fault. Now my senior must hate me to death, right? Recalling that last night she hadn't seemed to reject me, a smile immediately appeared on my face. It seemed my senior wasn't that repulsed by me after all. I cleaned up the messy room. In the bedroom, Ji Anxue sat on the bed, watching me head to the company. Her eyes were full of complex emotions. Arriving at the company, I had taken a day off yesterday, so today I should officially start work. Over the past month, I tried my best not to leave any work trouble for my senior. All day long, I buried myself in my senior's CEO office, reviewing and approving documents. All day long, I buried myself in my senior's CEO office, reviewing and approving documents. During that time, I took a few important documents home. That evening in the bedroom, Ji Anxue looked at the documents in her hands, and was instantly so angry she laughed. That guy last night was like an ox. Her whole body was still sore. She had barely recovered a little, and now this guy made her work at night. The smile on the woman's face made me feel a little uneasy. I gave him a fierce glare. I threatened. What are you smiling at? Just sign it quickly. Don't even think about grabbing your phone. Otherwise, I'll make sure you can't get out of bed tomorrow. The woman was clearly frightened by my words. Her delicate body trembled slightly. She picked up the pen and started reviewing the documents. Taking advantage of this moment, I hurried downstairs to cook the meal. This kind of routine lasted a full half a month. During this time, I handled company affairs for my senior during the day at the office. At night, I brought important documents for Ji Anshua to review and sign. After just over half a month, spending time together like this, I realized that my senior had no intention of trying to escape. Every time I came home, I would see her sitting by the balcony with a book in hand, just quietly staying there. But the only piece of clothing on her body was always that loose shirt. So much so that for this half a month, every night I would wait for her to finish reviewing the documents, and then eagerly kiss her. And the woman would cooperatively respond to me. Days like this made me deeply attached. But I knew clearly that in a little over a week, I would die. Every time I thought about this, a look of desolation would appear in my eyes. But soon, that desolation turned into motivation, making me hold the person in my arms even tighter. What I was thankful for, though, was that over this half a month I had been taking painkillers continuously, and I never felt any pain. At least this way, I wouldn't suffer before my death. However, the only thing that bothered me was that my body was getting weaker day by day, and I had clearly lost a lot of weight. That night, the two of us lay in bed. Ji Anshua's face showed both helplessness and irritation. How long are you planning to keep me locked up? I'll let you go in a week. Can't you just rest for a few days? Your body probably can't hold out, right? Who says I can't handle it? A man can never admit he can't handle something. Besides, my body is weak. Only because of the lung cancer. This woman actually said I'm not capable. Time flies. There are only 3 days left until the 1-month deadline. Hello? Are you Mr. Gu? Seeing the call from the hospital, I instantly thought they were going to persuade me to get treatment again. But with only 3 days left, even treatment wouldn't help anymore. You don't need to convince me. I'm giving up treatment. Just as I was about to hang up, Mr. Gu, you misunderstood. It's our hospital that owes you an apology. Your test results were mixed up by us. Your body is perfectly healthy. The patient with the same name as you passed away at 6 this morning. We are truly sorry. I didn't take in anything else after that. My eyes were wide open at that moment. The only words echoing in my ears were, perfectly healthy. I wasn't sick. I didn't have to die. No, I wasn't sick. But why was my whole body sore and weak? And my health had deteriorated. Forgetting about the work at hand, I immediately ran to the hospital. At that moment, I valued my health more than ever. Mr. Gu, based on your description, your physical weakness and declining health are due to overindulgence, combined with long-term heavy use of painkillers. Go back and take more vitamins. Rest for a month and you'll be fine. I apologize to you here, because our hospital's mistake caused you mental stress. I'm truly sorry. I wasn't sick. Standing at the hospital entrance again. Unlike last time, my heart was filled with joy at that moment. But that joy was soon replaced by fear. I wasn't sick. Doesn't that mean after I release senior in 3 days, I'd have to go to prison? No. I'm still so young. Such a wonderful youth. How could it be wasted in prison? Maybe I should go back and apologize to my senior? No. She would never accept it. Maybe I should tell her the truth? That won't work either. She would definitely think I made up an excuse because I'm afraid of going to jail. My mind kept turning over and over. How could I earn my senior's forgiveness in 3 days? Until the driver's horn pulled me back to reality. Coincidentally, the driver in front of me was exactly the same driver I had met last time. Seeing me, he obviously recognized me too. Young man, so it's you. You look pretty good, judging by your complexion. Not bad. Uncle, by the way, uncle, let me ask you a question. If someone offends someone they shouldn't have, and the other party won't forgive them, plus they're afraid of going to jail, what should they do? Seeing the uncle in front of me, a glimmer of hope suddenly sparked in my heart. 1 month ago, this very uncle taught me a lesson that helped me win my senior. Now I really hoped he could give me some advice again. Hey, isn't that simple? Just go abroad. 3 years later, all these grudges, no matter how deep the hatred, will fade with 3 years' time. And once you're abroad, our country's laws can't touch you. Young man, you're not talking about yourself, are you? How could that be, uncle? I was just scrolling through a video where someone asked this question. I didn't know how to answer. Thanks for the advice, uncle. The driver uncle's suggestion lit up my eyes. Hearing the second half of his words, I quickly forced an awkward smile. making up an excuse to brush it off. Goodbye, young man. Let me give you one piece of advice. Face everything bravely. Don't do something you'll regret. Thank you. Stop at the company entrance. Watching the taxi disappear into the distance, I walked quickly into the office with excitement. I ran into Assistant Jiang on the way, but I didn't even acknowledge him, because at that moment I suddenly remembered that a couple of days ago, the company had a 3-year overseas project that needed someone to take charge. The candidate hadn't been decided yet. This project was practically tailor-made for me in my current situation. But what I didn't know was that as I hurried away, Assistant Jiang behind me was staring intently at me, his eyes fixed on the bag from the hospital in my hand. President Ji, Assistant Gu, have you been unwell lately? When will you come back to look at this? Over the past month, President Ji hadn't replied to a single message. This made Assistant Jiang even more puzzled. What kind of project had President Ji gone to negotiate, that she was this busy? Over the next 2 days, I took on the overseas project to go abroad, completed the procedures to go abroad. I will be in charge of this project. The entire company was shocked. Even Secretary Jiang was the same. But I'm not going to explain. After tonight, I will leave Jiangxing at 8 tomorrow morning. Then I won't have to go to prison anymore. Gufan, when will you let me out? These words were the first thing I heard from her every day we met. Looking at the woman staring at me, her eyes fixed. Suddenly, I felt some nostalgia for these moments. Even a little reluctant to let you go, and my overwhelming kisses left Ji Anshua breathless. As if sensing his emotions, Ji Anshua cooperated and didn't speak. At 6 in the morning, I quickly got up to wash up, pack some daily necessities, made breakfast and put it in the warmer, turned on his phone and placed it beside the pillow, then unlocked the chains that had locked the woman for a month. Red marks had long been rubbed into the ankle. I touched the woman's ankle for a long time. I gently placed a kiss on her forehead, left a note behind, then took a taxi to the airport. After boarding the plane at 8 o'clock, I could no longer hold on and fell into a deep sleep. The flight would take 11 hours, enough to make up for last night's exhaustion. 3 in the afternoon. In the villa's bedroom, Ji Anshue was woken by the sudden sound of her phone ringing. President Ji, Assistant Gu said, "You would return to the company today. When will you come over?" Still a bit groggy, Ji Anshue replied hoarsely. "Wait." As soon as she said it, Ji Anshue immediately regretted it. Her face flushed red in an instant. She quickly hung up the phone. Though she didn't know why that little bastard had returned her phone to her, she couldn't bother to think about it anymore. As she got out of bed, her legs instantly gave way. She collapsed to the floor. Suddenly, she spotted a note on the table. "Sister, I'm leaving. I don't want to go to prison. I still have my best years ahead. Can you not press charges?" Looking at the note in her hand, Ji Anshue felt utterly awful. Just then, messages that had accumulated over the past month came flooding in. In the bathroom, Ji Anshue soaked in the bathtub, scrolling through the month's messages. Especially after seeing the message Secretary Jiang had sent her. Her pupils suddenly constricted. It read, "I'm going abroad for 3 years, leaving this morning at 8. She laughed and laughed. Her expression instantly turned ice cold. She threw her phone hard against the corner of the wall. It shattered into pieces. A single crystal tear fell from her eyes. Ripples spread across the bathwater. "Gufan, you're something else. Take when you want, toss away when you don't. You'd better stay abroad forever. Don't come back." Everything that happened in the bathroom. At this moment, I'm still fast asleep on the plane, not even considering how I would face Ji Anshua's wrath when I returned home 3 years later. 3 years later, 4 in the afternoon. Jiangxing Airport. From a distance, I spot Fan. A man beside a Ferrari waves at me. Seeing who it is, I also break into a knowing smile. "It's my good buddy, Brother Subai, Fan. You left for abroad without a word. There's a cocktail party tonight. Let's have a good drink together." In the car, the driver keeps talking about everything that happened in these 3 years. I just listen quietly. But the person I care about most is still Senior Sister. 3 years have passed. Senior Sister probably doesn't hate me anymore, right? If she still hates me, I'll just have to resign. Truth be told, I really can't bear to leave Brother Fan. Did you hear me? Since time is tight, my luggage is taken directly to Subai's place. Brother Fan, you have no idea how fierce your Senior Sister has become. After you left these 3 years, those factions competing with her all went bankrupt because of her. Now your Senior Sister practically rules the entire city of Jiangxing. No one dares to provoke her. I remember meeting your Senior Sister once last month. That look almost scared my legs out from under me. On the sofa, I listen as Subai rambles on. I'm a bit stunned. My Senior Sister has become this powerful. Seeing her achieve so much, I'm genuinely happy for her from the bottom of my heart. 8 in the evening. I casually grab one of Su-bai's suits, put it on and follow Su-bai to the cocktail party. As for why we didn't just go straight to the bar for drinks, my buddy only says that an important figure will be attending tonight's party. He wants me to help him get acquainted. I just find this speechless. Having been away from Jiangcheng for 3 years, what important figure could I know? Because the important figure won't arrive until 9. I just hid in the corner with Su-bai, drinking nonstop. Just as I finished using the restroom and was washing my hands, the figure appeared behind me. The man was wearing a reddish-brown suit. His features were somewhat similar to mine. At that moment he was looking at me with a smile. The moment I saw who it was, my eyes turned cold instantly. This person was none other than my half-brother, Gu-han. Back when I was kicked out of the family, it was because of his scheming. But today was my first day back in the country, and I just wanted to celebrate properly with my brother. I didn't want to cause any trouble. Just as I took a few steps out, "You didn't come to this party today, just to watch me confess my love to Nshui, did you? What do you mean by that?" Hearing Gu-han address the senior so intimately, my eyes went wide. I fixed my gaze firmly on him. "Hey, you still don't know, do you? After you went abroad, Nshui often brought me along to all kinds of events. She even entrusted important projects of her company to our Gu family. Tonight, I'm going to be with Nshui. I really have to thank you. These 3 years abroad gave me the chance to get close to Nshui." His words stabbed me deeply. At that moment, I clenched my fists tightly. Only one sentence echoed in my ears: that tonight, Gu-han was going to be with my senior. My heart ached so much. So she really does hate me, after all? Knowing how much I despise Gu-han, she still chooses to be with him. Ignoring the sarcasm from the man beside me, my eyes dim as I return to the table. I pick up my glass and start chugging. Now I understand that the big shot Su-bai mentioned was the senior. But right now, I can't feel any happiness in my heart. The first time I see my senior after returning home, turns out to be watching Gu-han confess to her. Thinking about how my senior is about to be with Gu-han soon, my heart is filled with rage. Su-bai beside me notices my change in mood, watching me drink nonstop. He wants to say a few words to console me, but meeting my dispirited gaze, he slowly shuts his mouth and drinks with me. 1 hour later, Su-bai and I were already dead drunk. It was at that moment, the once boisterous party instantly fell silent. A woman in a red dress appeared in the center of the venue. Her gaze swept across the room. Her eyes suddenly landed on a corner, slumped over the table. I was drunk, and my eyes darkened slightly. Just as he was about to walk over, a figure suddenly blocked his way, under everyone's watchful eyes. "Nshui, I like you. Will you be with me?" Right then, the party lights shone on the two of them. No one was the least bit surprised. Some even started cheering, shouting for her to say yes. I was also jolted awake by those cries. Looking at the two under the lights, my heart felt like it was being twisted. I desperately wanted to rush over and stop them. But what right did I have? I glanced at the wine on the table, picked it up, and kept drinking. But this time, the wine only tasted bitter in my mouth. Under the lights, Gu-han saw me suddenly lift my head. He sneered inwardly, then gazed at Nshui with deep affection again. "Nshui, will you have me?" A crisp slap echoed through the entire party. No one understood what was happening. They all fell silent. Gu-han on the stage stared at the woman before him in disbelief, not knowing what he had done wrong. Didn't she like him? Why did she hit him? Secretary Jiang, terminate all cooperation with the Gu group. As for those who were cheering just now, stop our company collaborations with them too. After saying this, the woman gave no chance for the surrounding company chairman to plead, and walked toward me expressionlessly. But I didn't notice any of this. My mind was stuck on the thought that my senior had agreed to be with Gu-han. I had just raised the glass to my lips, when a jade-like hand snatched it away. At that moment, I stared at the glass being taken from me, suddenly furious. Looking up to meet the woman's gloomy expression, the anger in my heart instantly vanished. My eyes darted around randomly, not daring to meet her gaze. Just got back and didn't come to see me. And now you drink this much. Gu-fan, you're really something. Why do you care what I do? We're nothing to each other. You already agreed to be with Gu-han. Why bother with me? At this moment, I was already completely drunk and confused. My mind was still stuck on the scene of her accepting Gu-han's confession, completely unaware of Nshui's rejection just now. Seeing the woman come over to scold me, I felt a wave of grievance inside. I snatched the wine glass from her hand, and kept drinking from it. Seeing me act jealous like this, Nshui's anger instantly faded by more than half. Secretary Jiang, arrange for someone to send the young master of the Su family back. A sudden feeling of weightlessness hit me. I was directly lifted horizontally by Ji Anshue. All the alcohol in my hand spilled onto the woman's chest, soaking her clothes. But the woman seemed not to notice, and walked toward the door. Only then did everyone realize who President Ji truly liked. Many people cast mocking glances at Gu Han. Those who had been stirring things up were even more regretful. But under these circumstances, no one dared to step forward to stop her. Inside the hotel presidential suite, the woman carried me, half asleep, straight into the bathroom to wash up. Looking at the person she hadn't seen in 3 years, Ji Anshue was both angry and helpless. On the bed, Ji Anshue dried her hair. By then, I was also groggily waking up. Seeing the woman beside me, I angrily pushed her away. This woman already has Gu Han. Why is she still coming to me? Stay away. What do you want from me? If not you, then who should I look for? Drinking so much. Did I ever tell you not to drink? Ji Anshue's eyes at this moment were dark and fierce, as if she could devour me whole. That kid actually dared to push her away. Fine, after sleeping with her, he thought he could just avoid responsibility. I'm not your boyfriend. Go find your boyfriend. Hearing my words, Ji Anshue laughed. He liked her but never confessed. Slept with her for a month, then turned around and fled abroad. She hadn't even settled the score with him yet, and now he was blaming her. Get off me. Trying to push the woman away. Suddenly her face darkened. She pinned me down beneath her, and covered my mouth. At the same time, inside the presidential suite of another hotel, my buddy Su Bai was being relentlessly teased by a woman. In just a few moments, Su Bai had sunk into the warm embrace. The next morning, I was woken up by the alarm clock. Opening my eyes, feeling the soreness all over my body. I knew I had been slept with last night, so it wasn't a dream after all. Seeing a set of clothes placed on the table. On the clothes was unmistakably my senior's handwriting. Seeing this, I felt a sudden relief in my heart, secretly glad. At least it wasn't someone else I slept with. But soon I quickly dressed myself properly. I had to report to the company today. However, after what happened last night, I knew my senior no longer hated me. Feeling cheerful, I hailed a taxi. From the VX blacklist, I pulled out the person who had been locked away for 3 years. But soon I was shocked by a message from my buddy. Wu Fan, bro. I absolutely must get justice for you. Last night I was killed by your senior's secretary Jiang. She even recorded a video, saying, if I don't take responsibility for her, she'll send me to prison. Bro, you have to save me, please. Seeing Su Bai's message made the corner of my mouth twitch. But more than that, I was shocked. Secretary Jiang actually likes Su Bai. But this kind of thing I can't really help either. Hey little Bai, maybe you should just go along with Secretary Jiang. It's obvious Secretary Jiang likes you. If you don't take responsibility, you'll probably end up in prison. Even your family's company might get dragged into it. Besides, Secretary Jiang is pretty good looking. You wouldn't lose out being with her. After a long while, until I reached the company building, Su Bai's reply finally came through. I got it, bro. After reading the message, I felt quite pleased. Nice. I did a good deed. Something good is bound to happen today. With a happy mood, I walked toward the CEO's office. Along the way, all my colleagues saw me back and greeted me one after another. I responded to each of them. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw Secretary Jiang walking toward me. When she saw me, a trace of sympathy appeared in her eyes. I found it a bit baffling, but then I thought about Su Bai's matter. Hey, Secretary Jiang, you're not really going to send Su Bai to prison, are you? Secretary Jiang, hearing my sudden words, froze on the spot instantly. After snapping out of it, her face turned red. She quickly stepped into the elevator. I could turn it off. Sister, let's go over the overseas project report at the company. The moment I opened my mouth, I met those icy eyes. I was so startled I froze in place. Hurry up. The woman's expression was cold, making me feel very uneasy inside. I hastily recounted the overseas project. After leaving the office, I was still shaken. She was so gentle last night, so why did her attitude change today? At least she didn't bring up what happened 3 years ago. For the next few days, I stayed at Su Bai's place, because I learned from Secretary Jiang that my own villa had already been taken over by Senior Sister. Thinking back to that day in the office, Senior Sister's cold demeanor, I simply didn't dare to go back. I was afraid that if I returned, I'd be punished. But what's meant to come will come, no matter how you avoid it. That day, at the company team-building event in a bar, I was continuously toasted by a bunch of senior company executives. Throughout it all, the look in their eyes was laced with sympathy. This left me utterly puzzled, until I was drunk into unconsciousness. The door opened. Upon seeing who had walked in, the crowd of senior executives quickly retreated. Ji Anshue, looking at me, fast asleep on the sofa, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. That night I had a dream. In the dream, senior sister and I got married. And we even had a daughter. Our family of 3 lived happily together. Waking up to a weight on my chest, I slowly opened my eyes. The first thing I saw was a miniature version of Ji Anshua, staring at me with her big, round eyes. Seeing that I was awake, the little girl's eyes lit up. Joyfully, she wrapped her arms around my neck. Dad, I looked around the room. And there beside me lay Ji Anshua, a smile on her face, watching me. For a moment I was stunned. How did I suddenly become a father? Was this my and senior sister's daughter? Had the dream become real? Countless questions swirled in my mind. After a long while, I looked at the smiling woman beside me and asked in a trembling voice, "Is this my daughter? What do you think? You were so wild that night. Not long after, I got pregnant. If you don't want her, I can always call Guhan." No! As soon as Ji Anshua finished speaking, I glared angrily at the woman in front of me. But meeting the woman's gaze, I quickly lost my nerve. "Sister Yu, I'm sorry. I want to explain to senior sister about what happened 3 years ago." But the woman clearly already knew. The smile on her face disappeared, replaced by a cold sneer. "Baby, go out and play with Aunt Jiang first. Daddy doesn't want us anymore. Mommy needs to teach him a lesson. Okay, Mommy, give Daddy a good lesson." The little girl on me quickly got off the bed. Before leaving, she didn't forget to close the door. Looking at the woman sneering on top of me, I wanted to speak, but was quickly interrupted. "Little Junior, were you happy leaving mother and daughter behind to go abroad for 3 years? 3 years ago, you locked me up for a month. From today on, you will stay in this room for a full year. Otherwise, my daughter and I will leave with Guhan." As soon as the woman finished speaking, an overwhelming kiss sealed my mouth. I tried to struggle. Only then did I realize that my ankles had already been locked by the woman with chains, and I was all too familiar with the material of these chains. But this was clearly the same chain I bought 3 years ago. As for the woman's punishment, I dared not resist, nor did I dare to have any complaints. I absolutely will not allow my woman and daughter to call Guhan husband, daddy. The woman and daughter are mine. I deserve all of this. What goes around comes around. Now I only regret one thing. That is regretting taking that driver uncle's advice. Otherwise, I would be spending the next year in bed. But at the same time, I am grateful to that driver uncle. If not for her advice, perhaps I wouldn't have had the courage to lock up senior sister, nor would I have such an adorable daughter. No one can predict the future, but living in the present, doing what you want to do, you will definitely get what you want. 1 year later, this is my first time since returning to the country, even the first time in my life, to enter an amusement park. But this time, I have 2 people, one big and one small, accompanying me. On the Ferris wheel, the woman suddenly leans close to my ear and speaks. "Honey, Yen Yen says she wants a little brother." At night, I instantly shudder. My legs involuntarily go weak. Yet in my heart, I feel more joy. I never thought the woman I've longed for day and night would still be willing to bear my child. Looking back at myself, I only feel that I'm truly a worthless person. I bullied my wife for a month, then went abroad for 3 years. Our daughter was raised by my wife alone, while I was overseas carefree and at ease. Returning after 3 years, my wife only locked me up for 3 days, and then still got a marriage certificate with me. At this moment, I silently swear in my heart, for the rest of my life, I will never abandon this mother and daughter. Now the Ferris wheel rises to its highest point. Looking at the woman before me, whose eyes are full of me, I take a deep breath. Under the shocked gaze of the woman and our daughter, I slowly go down on one knee, take out the ring I prepared in advance. I never forgot that I still owe this woman a confession. With our daughter as witness, I slipped that ring onto the finger of the woman I've loved for 12 years. Time comes to night. A thought suddenly pops into my mind, to hail a taxi. Looking at the car keys in my hand, I think I'll come back for it tomorrow. Inside the taxi, I'm immersed in playing with my daughter. Suddenly I hear the driver's voice from the front. That familiar voice makes my heart jolt. "Young man, it really is you. Haven't seen you in 3 years. You even have a daughter now." "Yes, sir, I owe it all to you. I'll treat you to a meal another day." "Hey, no need, you and President G are a perfect match." How does he know Anshua? My heart gives a start. Looking at the driver in front, I glanced again at the woman beside me who hadn't said a word since getting in the car. I felt like I had fallen into a huge trap. "Dad, another day will bring my husband home to see you and Mom, okay?" The woman beside me spoke. In an instant, I understood everything. So my wife had liked me from the very beginning. No wonder after I took my wife back then, she didn't even get angry and was especially cooperative with me. So the most skilled hunters are often the ones who hide the deepest.